Sometimes in Excel we have text data that we need to manipulate somehow, and we can do that with Excel text formulas. But we also have some new tools that have become available recently in Microsoft Excel. So as you can see here, we have first name and last name. Maybe I'd like to split those out. So if we go into the Data tab here, there's a function called Text to Columns, which will allow us to split things like this out easily. So we can say that the text out here is delimited, and it's actually delimited by a space, right? So we don't actually need the tab. And you can see the example of how it's going to split it out here. If I type in finish, it'll split our first name and last name. So that's a real easy way to split out text that's separated by something useful like a comma or a space or a tab. And I can also go about trying to change that using formulas. So here's an example of some stuff that I find often, like city, states all in one field. But what we want to do is get that into its own individual field so that we can actually process it. So in our state field, if we type in equal, there's one of the functions that I find most useful is actually out here in the text. So we click on that F function button up there and click text. We can go down here. There's one actually called write. And so if I use write, it'll ask me, okay, so we got the write function there. Well, what text do I want to choose? I want this Denver, Colorado thing. But I only want to write 2 characters. So that'll give me Colorado. And if I drag that down or double click on that corner, it'll give me Wyoming and Arizona. Now I want to squeeze out Denver here. So I could have used text to columns and just used comma as my delimiter. But I'm going to do a little bit more progressive text formula here. So there's actually a formula called mid. And you'll find mid down here somewhere, which helps to split things out. So our text field is Colorado. I'm going to start on column 1. And then the number of characters, I'm actually going to need a formula in here. So my formula is going to be find. And find is a pretty simple little thing. It's going to look in there for a comma. And then starting in column 1, I believe that's right. And then we need to subtract 1 for the comma. And it's not going to like it because I didn't do it right. So is the text and the start num and the number of characters. There we go. All right, so find text within text. So I did it backwards. All right, so again, one of those things you learn is sometimes you have to fiddle with formulas to make them work. So I had them wrong in the wrong order. Find text within text, start number, and that'll give me Denver, Cheyenne, Tucson, and so on. So now I have something where I have the city and the state, and I could have also done this just by using the text to columns function, using the comma as my delimiter. But those are some of the functions that you'll find under text. So we can do left, right. Those are my most common ones that I use, are left, right, and mid. You can convert things to proper capitalization. So if you have people's names and they're all in lowercase, that'll turn them into the proper cases. So there's a lot of really good little tools in here. But those are the most common ones. All right, right, left, mid are the ones that I use most often. So start playing with Excel text formulas to be able to split out big chunks of text into smaller chunks that you can then analyze more easily using things like pivot tables.